My name is Nolan White. I play football at Maryville High School. This is No Playbook Podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the show. It's the podcast featuring the outstanding athletes, coaches, and experts from East Tennessee. As a Maryville graduate, said it before, say it again, I always love having kids on from Maryville High School. Today, Nolan White, fantastic athlete, football player from Maryville High School. Nolan joins me to talk about what it's like being on the Rebels this year. Of course, there's such a powerhouse when it comes to football in the state of Tennessee, but they really had kind of a down year last year. How does the team bounce back this season? Nolan talks about that a little bit. Also, his recruiting experience, what he's been through so far. And he talks a little bit about his desire to get into coaching. Great chat. I'll get to Nolan White after this. Sit tight.
D1 training is the place for the athlete. You pick the goal, we help you get there. With classes starting as young as 7 years old, D1 can help everyone take their game to the next level. Our 5-star training system comes straight from Division I strength and conditioning programs. D1 is a results-driven athletic training facility. We offer personal training, team training, youth development programs, adult boot camp classes, and much more. Learn more about our facilities in Hardin Valley and Blount County by following us on social media and by visiting d1training.com.
I'm a little new to this.
That's all right, man. How are things?
It's going good. How about you?
Good. First game of the season a couple nights ago. How'd that feel?
Felt great. I'm not gonna lie, it felt really good. Big win. County win. We won by a lot. Thank the Lord. And yeah, we forced a lot of good turnovers. And our defense just looked improved overall.
That was one of the things I wanted to ask you about. What is it like, talk about defense, working for your dad?
Oh gosh, the amount of times I've heard this, it's actually really fun.
For the listener that doesn't know, your dad is the DC, right?
Co-DC, yes.
Okay.
We got two defense coordinators. But having my dad as a coach is absolutely awesome. We do fight a little bit, but that's just because we're basically the same person. But what's cool is that we think the exact same way, and we can see the same things the exact same way. So watching film with him really helps me, and we both notice things that each other don't notice. So overall, it helps us like in a group.
So this isn't one of the notes I gave you to prepare for the podcast, but I wonder, have you thought about being a coach one day?
Oh yeah, it's always been on my mind since I was like 2 or 3 when I realized that hey, my dad is actually a good coach because he's winning state championships. But I was like, this would be kind of fun. And growing up watching him coach was really cool, and watching all those guys that I've grown up watching play, and I loved them, and they bullied on me and loved on me, and it was awesome. I was like, I would really like to do this someday. I definitely put some thought into it, but
Do you have any coaching experience at all?
actually, a little bit, yeah. I coach sometimes, like when we have like scrimmages and my dad can't be there, if he's got track or something. I'll help the other DB's coach, Ryan Talent. I'll help him a little bit, and not help him, but like just like be another person out there that knows a little bit about what's going on. And also just provide a little sense of urgency, like my dad does to everybody else. So yeah.
That's great, man. And some playing experiences can really help you. We're going to be, I probably won't release this for a few weeks, but actually, so the Tennessee Vols, this coming up week, we're playing Chattanooga Mocs.
Hmm.
And I had their quarterback, Chase Artopius, on the podcast not long ago. And one of the things he talked about is, so he's a transfer from UCLA.
Yeah.
But he wanted to keep his football career going as a player. Specifically, he told me on the podcast to learn more because his dream is to be a college head coach. So he's
Hmm.
at Chattanooga, not trying to get drafted, trying to get a job as like a GA after school and
Hmm.
and move on his coaching career. So it's kind of cool that opportunity as a player is going to teach you so much in the field that can turn you into a great coach one day.
Hmm. Yeah, you're right. My cousin Chase, who is also my receivers coach, after high school he played football at Maryville, and after high school he went to UT and became the general, like he was like the actual like manager for them, like all the equipment manager, like the head equipment manager. And then he got on the field and he was able to like decipher like what the plays were like they were calling the other team. And now he's back at Maryville coaching, and I was like, that'd also be cool. I was actually talking that with my parents today this morning. They're like, hey, would you want to look into sports management? I was like, that would be absolutely awesome. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, no question. I've gotten to work a lot in sports with, University of Tennessee athletic department, even Pellissippi State, their new
Hmm.
athletic department. It's just a couple years old, and it's just so much fun going into
Yeah,
all that stuff. A lot of details, but it
you're
is
right.
it is cool. So Nolan, thank you for joining me in the show. Talk first about what all goes into the start of the season, like all the training for the whole team and you specifically.
Well, I like to talk more about the team because I don't really like talking about myself. It's not really fun, but we take the off season extremely, extremely seriously. Of course, you have like a required 2 week break right after the season, or it's like 3 weeks. But right after that, we go full throttle. We're 3 days a week lifting, and then other than that, we're practicing with each other in like separate groups. So like right after the season ended, we would still work out as a team, but like without the coaches there, just because we knew that we're like, hey, we're gonna have to get stronger. Um, and then we'd also run routes. The receivers would run routes all the way from the winter to after spring practice. We would run routes right after school while we were free. And spring was absolutely awesome. This was actually the first spring practice, like full spring practice I've ever been in because I've had baseball, but I'd recently stopped playing, so this was the first actual spring practice that I got to have, and it was really fun. I got a lot better in tackling specifically. Um, and summer workouts they were tough. Working out 4 days a week is tough, and practicing right after is also tough in the heat. But I believe it developed us as a team extremely, extremely well.
It's great. How about the recruiting trail? Have you gotten to touch on that yet?
Well, recruiting is not really my forte, but I've only went to like 2 camps, and I've gotten a D3 offer from Maryville College with them, which I'm really glad for. I love Coach Fox; he's absolutely awesome. He actually lives in my neighborhood, so I get to see him sometimes. He talks to you like he's your friend, and I absolutely love it. I think it's cool. But not much in the recruiting process. But I would like to play college ball. I just don't know if I'm up to the challenge for it with my size.
I got to agree about Coach Fox. So we go to the same pool at Green
Mhm.
Meadow, and I've connected with him a few times through D1 training about some things, and I'll agree. He talks to me like we're old friends, and I'm like, is he remembering me? We've only met a couple times, but no, that's just who he is. He's just a friendly dude.
Exactly. Yeah. He texted me the other day. He said, "Hey, cuz, how's it going?" I was like, "Oh, I didn't know we're on that standpoint of
That's just
friendship."
him.
But I was like, "Oh yeah, it's exactly how he is, and it's absolutely awesome." I think it kind of connects each other, like connects them with the players. I think it's cool.
Now you have a sister that plays softball at Maryville College.
Yes, sir. And he and she babysits his kids, and she loves them. They're awesome. And then her boyfriend plays football at Maryville College. He plays linebacker, Seth Carter. And he says the exact same thing about him. He just talks to you like he's your friend.
That's very, very cool. And of course, I mentioned your sister. I've got to mention the other sister that
Oh
my wife
gosh.
taught in kindergarten or first grade.
Oh yeah, the freak athlete. Yeah.
Is she a freak
Harper.
athlete?
Oh yeah. Harper's. I think she's taller than me now. Actually, she's like 5'8", 5'9", maybe 5'10". But she was hitting home runs as a sixth grader on a high school field, and then she
Wow.
also will probably start as a freshman for the high school. I think she was like the seventh fastest girl in the state last year. Just absolutely just a freakish athlete. I'm really proud of
Wow.
her. I think, and she works pretty hard. Uh, I say that, and she'll walk in here and say, "I don't work hard at all." I'm like, "Yeah, you do," but it's just how she is. She's a cool kid.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So I think she's the age of my oldest son. And so that the whole class,
Hmm.
my wife talks about a lot as when she taught them at Foothills. So
Yeah.
that's that's great. Um, what about something you think this season you specifically need to improve on?
specifically, and I mean extremely specifically, is tackling. Last year, I did have a lot of tackles, but what I would do is that I'd let them just run through me, and then I'm just pulling down, and they gain maybe 2 or 3 yards. And I'm a I'm 155 pounds playing as a 6A high school safety, and that's not a good recipe. But I need to learn how to get low and take out their legs, which I've been trying as much as I can. And my dad's been helping me with it, and all my other fellow teammates have been helping me with it because they know how to do it, and I don't. Um, but yeah, specifically tackling is what I need to work on.
Tennessee fan by any chance?
I'm diehard Tennessee fan.
Okay.
Diehard.
Uh, are you too young to remember the name Nick Rivez?
I think I am a little too young. I don't remember
Okay.
him.
So Nick, that was kind of in the dark days of Tennessee football. Nick,
Hmm.
what it's Fawad Rivez's kid, who's a outstanding kicker, played at Tennessee for many years. But Nick was an undersized, I think, middle linebacker. But he
Hmm.
was one of my favorite players because he had no business being on an SEC field, but he
Hmm.
gave his all, like Rudy Rudiger style,
Yeah, yeah.
and he just would give his all, and he made an impact on the field. And those guys I love to see. The guys that, they're not a James Pierce
Yeah.
necessarily. They're not going to be a first round draft pick, but still they're going to take the opportunity they've got, and they're going to take their size no matter what it is, whatever God gave them, and they're going to make the
Hmm.
most out of it. And from what I hear, that's what folks get to see from you on the 6A field every week.
Well, I try to give it my all. I'm always I'm a type of person that there's no middle ground. I'm either doing nothing or I'm doing everything that I can. Um, so on the football field, doesn't matter if they say jog, I'm going to go full speed during practice. They say, hey, we're going to do a 5. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to do a 10 because it's just not. This is not how I am. I just can't do it. Like we were doing like routes at like 3 speed. And I started sprinting. Coach was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I can't jog. I actually don't know how. I don't want to do it."
Hey man, that's good. You keep that mentality through your whole life, and that's going to take you to big places. Now, that actually, when you say sometimes you can do nothing, I want to hear, what do you do when you're not training or playing football?
Watching film. It's watching film. I watch film a ton. I think last week I watched 8 or 9 hours. I think
Whoa.
I'd watch maybe one at home, 1.5 during the school day, and that'd be all the way out through the week. So, and I didn't watch any Friday because I was too busy hydrating because I'm terrified of cramping because I don't want to be made fun of by my dad for cramping. Um, but watching film is what I mainly do. And it's just that since I am undersized, I do give it my all, but I am undersized. I have to rely on my knowledge to help me throughout the game. Pick out what the opposite team is doing. Um, watching the quarterback and being able to tell formations and motions. It's just and it helps a ton. Like I think last year against Cleveland, as a DB group, I think we knew 90% of their plays just by ourselves. And it showed because we beat the crap out of them. So,
Yeah. That's like a Luke Kuechly mentality on defense.
hmm I love Luke Kuechly. I watched his highlights many times, and he's always talking about uh, the opposite teams are always like, yeah, he's calling out plays right after we break the huddle. I'm like, I want to be like that. I want to be able to do that.
Yeah. So longtime listeners of the podcast are rolling their eyes right now because they know what I'm going to bring up. I'm a big lifetime Carolina Panthers fan.
Hmm.
And when you talk about being undersized, I mean, I'm watching Bryce Young this
Oh,
offseason kill it. I mean,
yeah.
I think he's smaller than I am. And the dude is 5'8", like whatever he is, a buck 60.
Hmm.
And he's throwing dimes this offseason. So, you know, you give it your all, and you can still do some big things no matter if you're undersized.
Yes, sir. I actually really enjoy watching him play because he's like a Kyler Murray mixed with a Patrick Mahomes, just makes plays out of nowhere, but has great speed, even though he's small. He can throw a mile. I think it's awesome.
So what I was hoping you were going to bring up for the what you do when you're not playing football is, I've heard you're quite the fan of cooking.
Uh, I do cook a lot. I love cooking. I actually I used to dream of being a chef until I was like maybe 10 or 11. I'd ask my parents to like take me to the back and so I could see the kitchen of restaurants. I just think it's fascinating, and I love cooking for myself. And I actually cooked lunch for my family today. We had steaks and mashed potatoes. It was really good. Um, you know, I think it's just really interesting to me. I love it.
Yeah. That's great. I used to watch with my kids baking championship.
Yeah,
They would super get into that, and we'd try to replicate some of that stuff.
yeah. Those kids are pros for absolutely no apparent reason. They're
Yeah.
good.
So now I have kind of shifted in my my full-time job duties and doing some marketing stuff for a bunch of restaurants actually. So
Hmm.
a few in Knoxville, um, the Kennedy, Cafe 4, Loco
Hmm.
Burrow. So it's kind of cool getting to see the behind the scenes of that kind of stuff as well. But it's cool to hear somebody that's got a passion for that.
Hmm.
What about Blount County? Do you have a I've had a few other Blount County athletes on the show, and we talk about favorite Blount County restaurant.
Oh, it's got to be Walnut Kitchen. I love Walnut Kitchen. It's not just the food; it's just I think it's just the environment. You walk in there and you're like, "Wow, this place is actually really cool." How the place is set up. They have the open kitchen. You can walk back there and watch them cook. It's really cool, and the servers are awesome. And the food is amazing. They just have great food. So I love that place. That's my favorite.
Yeah. What about what's your favorite dish there?
Ooh, well, when they have it, it's duck on cheese grits. So they have duck breast on cheese grits, and it's absolutely delicious. But when I don't have it, I get the cheeseburger just because it's just got great ingredients on it. So I love it. I think it's really good.
Yeah, that cheeseburger blows my hair back. It is outstanding
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
for a burger. What about Mexican food in Blount County? I mean, it's like a debate. Who's your go-to?
Okay, so this is actually an extremely tough question. I grew up a Los Margaritas fan. I love Los Margaritas. I think their food is amazing. But when I was introduced to Chapelines, I was like, this place is a step up, and it's also a lot faster. Um, and I think it's a little bit cheaper. And you have the rewards program, and it's awesome. I'm all about the rewards. I love the discounts. I love that stuff. Um, I think I'm gonna have to go Chapelines just because you have like a if you have like a game and you want to have go out there with friends, or you go like play pickleball and you go like you can go out there and just get Chapelines and then eat and you can just go home. And it's real quick. It takes you like 45 minutes to get your food and eat. So then you're done. And it's good. It's delicious.
I think people might be turned off places next to a gas station, but no, man,
Mm-mm.
it's outstanding.
Oh yeah, it'll knock your socks off. It's delicious.
Yeah. So talking about Maryville High School football specific,
Mhm.
I got a couple questions for you about current teammates. Who do you think is going to have the longest playing career?
Um, when you showed me what we were going to be going over, this was a really hard debate. Um, it was either Will Jones or Brody Smith. Um, and Will Jones is just an outstanding quarterback. Yeah, he's probably one of the best ones we've ever had at Maryville, and that's what we relied on over the years. Is amazing quarterbacks, and he's amazing. And then you got Brody Smith, and I love Brody. He's awesome. He's hysterical. He's so funny, and I mean, he's like 6'6", weighs like 280, and he's got Power Five offers. And I really see him going to the pros. And he's a good kid. I think he's a genuinely good kid. I know his family; and they're really cool. But I've also grown up with Will, and he's really smart, knows what he's doing. He probably will end up having maybe a power four now, power four offer if he gets lucky and he grows. Hopefully, he grows. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go Will Jones. I really think it's Will Jones.
There you go. What is he a sophomore?
He is a sophomore and he's six
That's unreal.
two. He's 6'2", 180, 170. His brother plays at Furman and he starts. He'll be a starter this year, and he's like 6'1", 215. But both of them can run really, really well, uh, which we were really thankful for that they can run really well.
So is Brody the funniest on the team?
Oh, I don't think he is. I think the funniest on the team is Sawyer McNally. I think he's our Will. Yeah, he's our Will linebacker. And he is, and he's just like, he's very unpredictable. He's absolutely hysterical. Our AV teacher, audiovisual teacher, Paul Bristol, who played corner, back in 2014. We love him. And one day we were walking out from some workouts, and he's pulled up, and Sawyer has acted like he's dropped something in front of his truck, and he's bent over to pick it up, and he's had his pants down, his butt was showing. We all were dying laughing because it was just so unpredictable. It was so funny.
I don't know why I'm remembering some pranks we would pull. Played soccer in Maryville High
Mm-hmm.
School. So right behind when we used to play on the field, there was a kid that we pulled a prank on right when he got his license. He had a Jeep,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a four-wheel drive, and we put the four-wheel drive in neutral. Well, when
Oh
you do that,
gosh.
it doesn't matter what you do with the other transmission, the car's
Yeah.
not going to go.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was like the day he got his license, and he was out there. He might have started crying because he couldn't figure out how to drive his car. And it got to a point where we're like, okay, I think this has gone too far. We had to go out and be like, this is what you do, buddy. You got to check the four-wheel drive transmission as well. And that was one. I'm just remembering behind the stadium the shenanigans that happened there at Maryville High School.
Oh yeah. That's actually really funny you mentioned that, because during the snowstorm, I have a Jeep. I got a four-door Jeep Wrangler, and it's a four-wheel drive. And my dad was trying to teach me how to put it in. I was just put it in four wheel, and I was really stressing out. And I tried it, and I was like, oh crap, I got it. I was like, I figured it out. That's so cool.
Yeah. Who could most easily talk their way out of a speeding ticket?
Oh, definitely. Oh crap, that's tough. I think Hudson Jamerson. I think Hudson Jamerson definitely can, and it's mainly because his dad's a cop, and his dad will help him get out of it, and that's mainly it. But I think it's
I'm so sorry. I got my 4-year-old. What are you doing?
what's up, man?
Can you say hello at least? Okay. What do you stop. Just say hello? Hi. Okay.
What's up, dude?
You go in there, please. I'll be in there in just a minute. Yeah. So it's one player that you would least want to date, your sister.
Oh gosh, that's
You got a
actually a
younger
long one.
sister too.
Yeah, both of them. It's definitely Britton Barrett. It is most definitely Britton Barrett. Um, I love Britton, and he's really funny, but there's not a lot going on up here. He just kind of I mean, his name we have a nickname for him, and it's Brick. His nickname is Brick. That's what we call him. And that was actually given to him by our head coach, just because. And what I love Britton, but there's just not much going on up there. But he's actually a really smart kid, but not a lot of common sense. But definitely Britton Barrett.
Yeah. Got it. I know those guys as well. Um, so Nolan, tell me one unforgettable sports memory for you, either as an athlete or as a spectator.
Okay, there was two on this one, and I think the first one that I said was in 2014 when TD Blackman caught the interception to win against Ravenwood in the state championship. And we had no business winning that game, but it was that one. But then I decided to choose this one. It was in 2017. We were playing Oakland to go to the state championship. Will Oren, who is personally one of my favorite safeties that's ever played at Maryville High School, um, he got an interception, and right after he came up and grabbed me and like hugged me and then like spin me in a circle, and I can never forget that. That was just one of the greatest moments that I've had in my life. I think it's awesome.
So how old were you? 2017.
I was 11. I was 11 years old.
So getting to be a part of the whole experience, even as just the coach's kid.
Hmm. Yeah, I was a ball boy for 5 years, and it was awesome being on the field and listening to all the players and watching just from the field view was absolutely amazing. I think it was great.
That's great, man. So as a Maryville guy, like I love from my house, we can hear on Friday nights, we can hear the band if we're not at the game. and just that whole atmosphere is so cool. But Maryville has been a dominant force
Hmm.
in East Tennessee or all of Tennessee football for many, many years, since the late 90s. Last year, you lost to Bearden and Farragut.
Hmm.
What is that like in the locker room? Do you come with any extra edge, or is that even addressed?
Oh, it's definitely addressed. We are not losing to them this year. We're coming back with a chip on our shoulder, and we're not going to lose to them. Uh, it wasn't that it was embarrassing. It was just we should have beat that. We should have beat both of those teams. We should have beat Beer and we should have beat Farragut. There's no doubt about it. We could have, but we're coming back with a better team this year, and we're coming back with more of a, how do I say it? More of an urge to win. We're done. We're gonna beat them, and we're gonna win the state championship. We're gonna win the state championship.
I love that. I love to hear that. I think there's a real in the community. It's a thing where, people are dying for that, and they're wondering like, is the legacy, is it dwindling? Um, and it may not be. You're saying,
No, I don't think it is. I've seen a lot of teams go through here, and by far this is one of the most talented teams that we've had since I've been here. But you know, other teams are good. I mean, we've had the NIL stuff, which I don't appreciate. I think that's some crap, but I'm not going to get into that. Um, I just don't. We do it the right way, and we're going to do it with the Maryville kids, and we've been doing that since, like you said, the late 1990s. We're going to keep on doing it. It's not going to dwindle.
yeah. I was at an event for On Three in May, and even they were talking about Oakland, some of the
Hmm.
NIL stuff they're doing to bring in.
Hmm.
They're basically recruiting nationally,
Oh yeah,
so stuff like that makes it tough.
oh yeah. It makes it very tough. They're getting kids from other places, and I'm like, where are they? Where are they finding these kids? They're coming out of nowhere. Um, but I mean, they're a good team, and they're extremely well coached. Um, there's no doubt about it. But in the end, it's who's going to be more physical and who wants it more. It doesn't matter how good the other team is. Last year, we beat Alcoa when they were supposed to beat us by 50, and it was just because we wanted it more and we were more physical. So we can definitely do it. There's no doubt about it. We can do it.
I had Coach Hunt on the podcast, and I've known him since he was a little kid,
Hmm.
uh, and he's good people. I believe in him, and I think he's gonna, get you guys back in that position.
I agree. He's awesome. He's a good guy.
Man, thank you so much. So, are you familiar with Coach Feather?
Heck yeah, I know Coach Feather was my English teacher last year.
Okay, so that's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Um, he's the guy that was like, you got to have Nolan on, and I 20 minutes ago I talked to him. I was like, you got to tell me stuff, and he's like, he loves to cook.
Oh yeah. He knows all about me. I love him. He's a great teacher. He's so funny. So funny.
Well, he learned everything from me. Nolan, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I will put this together, have it out very, very soon. Best of luck to the Rebels this year, and we'll be talking soon.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy. Go Rebs.
See ya.
Bye.